one. I always wait. I pause a minute because sometimes I'll watch these back, and it's like halfway through the hello.
Oh, okay.
So I sometimes wait for everybody to show up.
And here we are. We're here. We're a little bit later
back.
than we wanted to be, but
Yeah.
we're here. We were just kind of busy, and
Well, it's that summer thing where
you're right.
there's still a lot of light out, and you all of a sudden you look at your clock and you're like, dude, it's 7.
Yeah, it's so weird.
You know,
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's like that for everybody, but
which is nice.
us,
Look,
yeah.
I'm not complaining. I love it. I love long days where the sun is up. For summertime, it's like that's my time. When it gets dark early in the winter, I hate it so much because it'll be dark for like 4 hours, 5 hours, and you're like, dude, it's only 9 o'clock, and I'm like, so much time till the sun comes up because I don't know.
But here we are, happy What's Happening Wednesday.
Welcome everybody.
We are here and we're happy and things are great. So
yeah,
how is everyone doing this week? Is everybody having a good week so far? I know ours has been pretty good. It's like crazy because it's hot again, actually hot. Like through the what would you say? Like through the week, it's consistently hot.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's
But the
crazy.
nights have been very pleasant.
Summer nights at Disneyland.
We've had some great summer nights at Disneyland. Last night was another one that you're going to see tomorrow.
Yes.
We had a great time. There were some updates and things that we showed that were, I couldn't believe the stuff that we showed in our video yesterday. It was like, I couldn't believe it that it was happening.
Yep.
Some of those things we'll talk about a little bit tonight. I'll save some of it for the other video, but there's this like people mover rumor swirling around right now.
Yeah, there's a lot. The question Chris asks, no more Wednesday chat at the park. No, we're not going to do that. We may do it again sometime, but it's not our our thing that we're doing. It just became a little bit too production-y, and we had a lot of people like sitting there watching, and we didn't want to like draw attention away from the park. Doing a live stream is different where we're, farting around, walking around in and out of the parks and everything. That's a different story. But
it's hard to kind of stay focused on the task at hand because there's so much going on. Mm-hmm. And then a lot of folks will, and it makes sense, be like, hey, go over to Pirates. I want to see Pirates, or I want to see this. And we're like, well, this is more about just
hanging
the chat.
Out, yeah.
And so it's kind of a deceiving thing. Like, we used to do that because really nobody else was doing that. I think at the time only Fresh Baked was doing lives at the park when we first started doing this. And the original idea, honestly, for this live stream for What's Happening Wednesday, it was called What's Happening Disneyland. Mm-hmm. And it was a way for us to connect with the viewers, but also
to update you on Disneyland.
About Disneyland, which has now become a cottage industry as far as YouTubing at Disneyland. Updates, construction updates, and things that are new have become literally the basis for a lot of channels. I'll say that.
Which is cool.
It's very cool. And so we have, we've done the same thing with our edited videos, and we've gone and done updates. Yeah. Kind of like we did yesterday, and saved the live stream for more of an interactive thing to get to connect and chat with you guys and let you guys, kind of drive the focus of the video. Mm-hmm. So it's evolved into what it is. Mm-hmm.
Tanisha says, will you guys be doing another video about history of Disneyland? I really enjoyed that video that you did.
Yeah, sure. It was our take on it was let's just wander through the park
and say stuff that we would say to like our friends,
like if I brought somebody who really wasn't super savvy with Disney, I'd be walking around telling them the stuff that we were telling you in that first video, like, hey, see that over there? You know what that is?
Yeah. It wasn't supposed to be very, like, production-y or very, it
wasn't
professionally done. It was supposed to be very, like, walk and talk, casual, like, chill type thing.
As we would do.
We'll definitely do that again. We planned on doing more, and, because it's, like, when you walk through that park and you're such a big enthusiast, and we all know different trinkets of information, so we'll definitely do something like that. Let me see. Hold on. Good. Oh, sorry. Are we ever going to see Knott's Berry Farm, Universal, Magic Mountain? Yeah, we're definitely going to go back. We were actually talking to Dylan yesterday. So if you don't know who Dylan is, Dylan does the channel Theme Park Obsession. He's one of our really good friends.
He's obsessed.
He's actually an expert in theme parks. He knows all about them. He's really a big enthusiast.
Yeah.
And he goes to all of these parks. So we were talking to him and, you know, just about Nintendo World and things that are happening. Because I told him, I'm like, I don't like screen rides. I don't care for Universal Hollywood. I love Universal Orlando. And he's like, just go back with me. So we'll probably go back with Dylan. And
Yeah.
we do like Knott's. We just don't, it's not in like our normal rotation where somewhere we normally go to. But you know, it's kind of like Orange County Fair. We go there when it happens, and, you know, we'll definitely go for Knott's spooky season.
Yeah.
We'll go back for sure. We just haven't had too much time.
I would almost dare to say that we're not technically what you would call theme park vloggers. Now, I know that sounds weird because we do a lot of Disneyland, but that's Disneyland.
Yeah.
Disney World, that's just what we love. And then we incorporate, you know, our trips to Vegas and our other travel that we do, whether it's, you know, Yosemite or Lake Tahoe or whatever we're doing, and water parks and things like that. So if you know, if we were actual theme park vloggers, I don't want to be presumptuous and say that that's what we are, because we don't really cover theme parks
enough
as a whole. Because if you are going to call yourself something like that or fall under that category, then you would have to kind of cover Knott's and Universal on a regular basis, which we don't.
Yeah.
So we're not going to be presumptuous and say that we are theme park vloggers. We're just vloggers who happen to love Disneyland.
I don't think we could cut the mustard as a theme park vlogger.
It's just
I don't think we could handle it.
It's just not us.
First of all, yeah, it's not us. But second of all, that's a rough job. That ain't no joke.
Yeah,
like,
that's a lot of work.
Trust me.
And
that's hard to keep up with everything. Like,
Yeah.
it's hard to keep up with stuff just happening at Disneyland. I could never. So much credit to
Well, like-
anybody who covers multiple theme parks.
Oh, yeah,
we give you credit
Because
because
even
that's
Dylan,
rough.
I was talking to him last night, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm not going to see you for a couple days because I'm going to do some of this
He's
and I'm
got
going to do
Six
some of
Flags
that. He's got
and
other
some
things
coming up. Yeah,
right? So he has to make sure he covers all that stuff. Whereas we are more, I don't know, we're more lifestyle that happens to do a lot of Disney, and that's just who we are. So, anyways,
Yeah.
I don't know
So
what we
people
are.
like Dylan, and you know, I know there's a ton of theme park channels,
yeah.
but we
Yeah.
personally know Dylan, and we know how his passion. You know, I can only speak personally from
Yeah.
him, but you know, wow, that's a lot of.
And by the
work.
way, speaking of Dylan, we kind of dove in, as Dylan would say, about this whole people mover thing that happened.
Yeah.
This rumor, and so you're going to want to see that video, because Dylan's insight into that kind of stuff is always interesting
Fantastic.
and insightful. So
And we're lucky we got some of that on our video
Oh,
that
yeah.
you'll see tomorrow.
Yeah.
Jungle Cruiser, I apologize that we've kept you waiting. Thank you for the $10
Thank you.
super chat. Love the Wild Rivers video. That place looks
Oh,
awesome.
cool.
All we need now is Lion Country Safari back. People would lose their minds. I still can't believe it was real. I hear about it myself and can't believe that was real. And the fact that I lived so close, but I was not old enough.
Well, I went.
And thank you, though. A lot of you loved the Wild Rivers video, so thank you. We're so happy.
Thank you, Terry, for being here. She's helping us out. So speaking of Lion Country Safari, I went back in the day, and it was in Irvine. And ironically, it is where the original Wild Rivers
Is the sound
was.
crackly? I wonder why. That's weird. Huh. Is it, like, really bad? I don't know what it could be.
the connection, or I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know.
Anyways, Wild Country. What did it was? It Wild Country
Lion?
Safari, Lion Country Safari. I was
Jeez
like Wild because
Louise.
I combined it. Anyways, that place is where Wild Rivers eventually was. I went to Lion Country Safari as a kid, where you would drive around this area where there was animals in your car, and the animals were kind of free to roam. And oftentimes,
I mean, in your car?
you would drive your own car.
Oh, I thought you said there were animals in your car.
No, I said you were in your own car, and there were
Oh.
animals that were free to roam, and it was like a drive-through experience, and you drove through a safari, and the
Huh.
animals oftentimes would cross and block the road, and you wouldn't be able to move. Lions, all sorts of things would come up and right up to your window. It was pretty it was a pretty crazy idea if you think about it.
Really?
It would never happen nowadays with as far
That's
as
why I think when people say,
no, there was like
I can't believe it was
animals
real.
would climb up on people's hoods and stuff.
Oh, my.
Oh yeah, no, it was crazy, and you couldn't move the car, and it was also really hot. You know, you picture summertime in Irvine, 90, 100 degrees, and
Well,
you
yeah,
know.
out there, it was definitely something else.
So
Tell you
eventually
what.
that went away, and then they brought in the. I think while it was still there, Irvine, the amphitheater came in.
I went to a couple concerts out there.
I went to the very first concert ever out
There's
there.
still one in Florida,
Is there really?
and somebody said there's one in Ontario.
So when Lion Country Safari went away, they built Wild Rivers, the original one, in that same spot, and it was there till 2011, I believe.
The sound is clipping slightly, but only when Spencer talks, but not enough to worry. Okay, but a lot of people said it's fine.
Like-
So
like
maybe
all
you're
of our
just
mics.
maybe you're over modulating. 'Cause
Okay,
you're
I'll
so
just
loud.
talk normal. So
It does happen here in Oregon. Wildlife safari animals come up right up to the car. Man, I wish we could have that
What a
here
trip.
in California. We have a lot, like, I think Mike Jones just asked, was Wild Rivers as good as any water park in Orlando? First thing you're going to have to know, absolutely not. There is no water park in California that we've been to personally
That
that
rivals
is
those.
even close to water parks in
Now-
Orlando. Orlando, first of all, I think they have better landscaping for it. I don't know if the word is like,
But I
but
think-
they have more plants.
but
they
I think
just,
there's
more allowances.
there's a reason why though, and I think that you have to understand that Southern California
We're a desert.
is a desert, and we're also a state that has a lot of drought issues. So the amount of water that it would take to create something as
Tropical
and lush as like a Volcano Bay or a Blizzard Beach or a what's the other one?
What do you mean?
Any of the ones in Orlando that are
Typhoon Lagoon,
Typhoon Lagoon.
Aquatica.
they get so much rain and moisture out there, and it's not a desert. It's very jungly out there. So to grow stuff and to make that happen isn't as difficult as it is out here.
Not to mention Orlando is literally like theme park and water park. Like
Yeah.
they are like that's their game, man. Like they
But
know.
I honestly
are
think
they
it's
good.
it's the climate zone and the topography itself that
Mm-hmm.
makes it impossible. The amount of water that they would have to use to create that, unless they put in fake plants or something like that. So we have to give them a bit of allowance in that area.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it was amazing considering they're in soft open and they're not completely finished yet. All the slides are new. They're working really hard to make a fun experience, and they did a great job considering what they're up against as far as like they're operating kind of like not full steam, you know.
Yeah, not even close.
And we
like,
had a great
it's
time.
It's super bare bones right now. Like you're
Yeah.
not getting this like water park that's like completely done or put together. You're kind of like in a weird way. There were parts where it felt like you're at a construction zone in a weird way.
Well,
But
yeah.
also you have to like again you're comparing to Volcano Bay, Blizzard Beach, Aquatica out
It's an
there.
unfair
like,
comparison.
It really is.
It's not fair.
But I will say the technology of the slides and everything, wow,
Top notch.
incredible. Joshua, thank you for the $5 super chat.
Thank you,
My
Joshua.
girl and I wanted to drop in and show you guys some love. Thanks for all you do. Well, thank you for being here and thank you for that super chat.
Thank you, Joshua and Fran.
Francisco, thank you so much for the $5
Thank you,
super
Francisco.
chat. Hi, I just wanted to send love your way. Hope you guys are doing well. We are doing great. Thank you. We are still kind of trying to get back into our groove since I was out of commission for like a good, I don't know, week and a half.
Yeah, you were.
It's really hard to get like a week and a half's ooh, that was the straw. A week and a half's worth of work that I missed caught up with. So we are just we're lagging.
But your
bad.
boy's been handling it.
Yeah, we've been doing good though. So we're getting it.
Wait a minute, hold on. Did you see the Carpetbaggers video this far? He got bit in the arm by a camel. That's hilarious.
No, I
Oh my
didn't.
God. Not hilarious.
The
that he
water
got
park
bit, but
mecca. Oh yeah, that's what it is. 4 weeks today until we come down to Disneyland. Oh, I love
Nice.
that. Yeah, I'm feeling so much better, and the swelling, by the way, in my sinuses has gone down to almost nothing. Like it is fabulous. Have you ever thought of moving to Orlando?
I mean,
who doesn't go there and fantasize about that?
Yeah, we've fantasized about it, but nothing that has gone past any of that. I mean, we've talked about it. It's, something that we.
I mean, honestly, like when we're there, every time, like we were out there and we're like, I want to live here. Like, I mean, don't you do that when you go on vacation? Like, most of the time. But then, we're, we get back home and you're like, oh, I do love California has a wonderful climate and it does have so many things so close. They're both just great. Like, I want to live in both places.
Part of me is like, it'd be fun to go and just do it for like a year.
Or like live there for 6 months, or
right,
or something.
I've often
like
thought
that.
about that with a lot of places. Like,
it'd be fun to live a life like that.
Right, like I went and lived in the mountains in the mid '90s and snowboarded every day, and that was just like a couple of years of that.
Yeah,
it'd be fun to kind of do that and bounce around. The logistics of it are daunting, and to think about it at this point is crazy. But it'd be fun to go like, all right, we're gonna go live in Hawaii for a year.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna go live in Orlando for a year. We're gonna go with a focus of, whatever is going on there.
And really just like get into a lifestyle. I would
Right.
probably do 6 months.
Things
though.
that were lifestyle based.
I don't think I would do a year because I can't even stand being for like 1 month. I want to go. Like I can't even just
6
stay
months
home
is pretty
for a month.
quick though. It goes by so fast, and you're like, oh, I got to move again, and so that's the hard
moving,
part.
I guess I could see.
You know
that.
what I mean? Unless you just like really travel light and just treated it like, all right, we're going on like a 6-month vacation to this place, and we're gonna work there.
Oh, is there a supermoon tonight? It's orange right now in Texas.
Oh wow! I know.
I
Last
didn't
night it
know
was
that.
on the verge. We were at Disneyland, and it was like, that's no moon.
You guys know why it's orange right now, though, because it's almost Leo season.
Here we go.
Oh, when Leo season starts, you know it's on. No, I don't have birthday reservations yet. I don't have any plans for my birthday yet. We haven't even talked about what we want to do.
I may have plans, but she doesn't know.
Stop. You do not. You don't have time
for that. How do you know I don't?
You don't have time for that. And I don't expect anything like, we'll talk about it. We'll figure it out. We'll probably just go out to dinner.
I may have plans.
You're silly. You're making me blush. The Buck and Thunderstorm moon. I read about that. So they say this moon is supposed to really be re-energizing and
oh, cool.
restorative. It's a really good moon that's happening right now.
Oh,
so August 2nd. Ooh, another Leo. We have a lot of Leos. We should plan a party in Vegas. I'm going. My birthday is actually on the 19th. That's the day that it falls on. But basically, I celebrate all month. My lips look kind of washed out because I don't have any lip color on, and you're used to always seeing your girl with lip color. So it looks like that. I just was not about to.
I didn't do any lip color either, and I'm sorry I failed you guys. I was just busy doing other stuff.
But you don't have eye makeup on. I'm telling you, it's the most annoying thing when you have eye makeup on and no lip color. It's like a pet peeve of mine, but here we are. I actually really want some chapstick, though. I'm going to be in Vegas for my birthday trip. Ooh! Deanne says my birthday is August 3rd. Hubby's is August 1st. Laddie, August 21st. Does Patrick have plans for Katie's birthday? No.
Possibly.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Terry. Terry's one of our newer moderators, by the way. So thank you, Terry.
But Terry's not new to the channel.
No.
She's been with us for a long time.
She's been for a very long time and knows how to moderate.
But she has fallen into the moderator category now.
So we need to find out what day Leo season actually starts so we can find a celebration.
Really? Can't we just talk about the People Mover or something else?
We can talk about that. I'm down.
Oh my gosh, this Leo thing.
July 23rd is when it starts.
All right, so until then, let's keep it on the season that is prior
Not
to
Leo
it.
season?
Yeah, what's before Leo?
Cancer? No, that's after.
I don't know, but I can't wait for
Cancer,
Sagittarius season because I'm going to make you pay.
I can't remember. Oh, I love it. Happy birthday, Michael. Why is Pixar Charlie? We talked about that in our last one. Last video. It is Cancer. Okay, that's what I thought. I was I know it's a water sign.
Pixar is very
Happy
busy.
Happy birthday to all the Cancers, by the way.
Pixar Charlie, to answer your question, is very busy with his work.
We talked to him yesterday or the day
I'm not going to
before.
speak for him. I will say that there's just a lot of stuff going on in his business where his time is
Limited.
yeah, he doesn't have a lot of time off right now because there's big things happening.
He's not going to for most of the summer. So I'm
Yeah.
telling you, if we are lucky enough that we get to hang out
Anytime
with him
you
and
see him, it's going to
yeah.
be like this is a brief moment in time because
Yeah.
he's so busy.
We're gonna try though. I promise you, we're gonna try to take a trip down his way,
Yeah.
so that we can see him because we miss him so much. Like, life does not feel the same when we're without him. We're also missing Victor a lot too.
The Pixar is in demand.
Yeah,
and
he's high demand.
Yeah,
He
he's
does
one
a
of those guys.
lot of. He's a very hard worker with what he does. So
Yeah.
you know,
And
when
he's very
you,
valued at the company he works for, and so yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. That's all I'll say. But you know, he might dip in here. You never know.
Yeah,
so
if
stand
he
by
does.
if
He
he dips
definitely
in.
he usually pops into our Patreon
Yeah.
stream usually, but he tries to get into both to say hi. So and then I think he's gonna come to our little hangout session with the Super Besties.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we're gonna book him for that.
See,
so
now Lisa says yes. Let's talk about People Mover.
okay,
So if you don't know what the People Mover is, because some might not, Disneyland had an attraction in Tomorrowland for years called the People Mover, where you
don't sound so excited when you said.
talking about me.
No, I just looked over at your.
I'm so confused right now.
I looked over at your face though, and you're all. For those who don't know, the People Mover existed. But it was just
I'm
the
giving
way
a
you-
little
no,
broad
I know,
stroke
but
of
the
the
way
People
you
Mover.
said it though was like so like not news reportery. What's that word? Like a documentary? Like
Whatever. I don't know
I'm
what she's
sorry,
talking
but
about.
it's just the way you looked right there.
I don't know.
Sorry, go back.
See,
to
there's a lot of people who've never been.
No,
in
no,
a
no.
People
I'm not
Mover.
doubting that.
So,
Trust me, I know a lot of people
allow
are
me
like,
to-
"What?"
allow me
But it
to-
was the way you said it, though. Like it was the inflection. Is that what you call it?
Whatever.
Whatever. Boop.
Unbelievable. So back to what I was saying before I was rudely interrupted.
Sorry.
The People Mover was an attraction in Tomorrowland, in Disneyland, for years. I grew up with it. I was a kid who went to Disneyland in the 70s, 80s, in the beginning, and my beginning, not Disneyland's beginning. But it was an attraction that it was a nice diversion after, you walk a lot of steps at Disneyland, and the People Mover was something that you could get on, and you sat in these little cars. You could fit like 4 or 5 people in them.
Right.
And you took this meandering little tour around Tomorrowland, and it was very relaxing. It was really, a lot of times it was like, hey, let's get in the People Mover and chill for a minute. And it would take you all around. You would go inside show buildings, and you would see inside like
And it had effects.
Star Tours. You would kind of go through the queue, and you were above it there, and you could see Star Tours. And there was a voice, like a voiceover talking to you most of the time. You would travel into. They had like.
And it was a long ride,
It
right?
was a long attraction. I dare say 15 minutes or so.
It was a while.
So you could relax, like I said. And, you would go over the lagoon of the submarines. You would go over Autopia. You would, be along next to the monorail station and then back in the show buildings.
Right.
It was a really cool attraction. Now, they still have a People Mover in Walt Disney World. It's a lot shorter than the one that used to exist at Disneyland,
Yeah.
but it's there.
Yeah.
Nonetheless. And it's something that it went away in the, I don't know, Katie, pull it up.
Hold on.
It went away and they created a newer attraction on the same track called Rocket Rods, which was her generation
Yeah.
in the 90s.
See, but I had both because I also had the. People
I know you
Mover.
had People Mover,
It says
but
95, so I
95
had
it went away.
I think, yeah. Closing date was 95.
95, and so then
Oh, funny! It ended in August 21st in Leo season.
again, we don't care.
So, but I know that there's Leos in here because they were like, "Let's go back to talking."
I love how
about
everything
Leos.
goes back to this Leo thing. No
I'm sorry,
one
but I
cares.
thought it was interesting.
No one cares. So this new attraction was put on the same track called Rocket Rods, which was an attempt to be a little more exciting.
More
There was a new
thrilling.
Tomorrowland
Yeah.
vibe going on where they were trying to change the theming a little bit, and it was cool. I rode it like once or twice, but the thing had it broke down all the time, and it was something that was like
Yeah.
designed. It wasn't like those tracks and the setup for People Mover wasn't designed for something like that.
Well, and
so
it was
it kind of
flat.
failed.
You had flat ground, and they didn't bank it, and they had
They
these,
were trying to
like,
make it like a faster
tires.
thing.
Yeah, and so you're coming around the banks, and it's shredding these tires because the tires are like.
It's going around a flat turn.
And by the way, I just want to address when they say moderators relax, everyone's not a troll. The thing is, we have to kind of err on the side of caution because we really want to keep it clean. Sorry to interrupt you, but this is important. We want to keep it clean, and if you are thinking, just don't say anything questionable. Unfortunately, we just gotta. Like, we're no tolerance here, and unfortunately, that's just how it needs to go.
This is a positive place.
So I apologize if it feels offensive to some, but we don't mean it to be. It's just
it's also family friendly. So if you bring anything that crosses that line,
or even is questionable, we have to side on the air of
Sorry.
Bye.
But anyways, People Mover. It went away in '95. Rocket rods came in for a few years. That didn't last. And then now we're left with the skeleton of the track that if you go to Disneyland in Tomorrowland, the track for Tomorrowland is just there.
So also, while you're talking, I'm going to put this up. I have some old photos of the People Mover.
Okay.
So keep talking, and I'm going to put those up.
So for years, we've dealt with the skeleton of what was a great attraction. And the best thing about Tomorrowland, by the way, it was my favorite land in all of Disneyland as a child because
I feel like it was for a lot of people because it was
there was so
magical.
much movement and kinetic energy. You had the People Mover, you had the rocket jets spinning, you had the submarines, you had Autopia, you had the sky buckets, all of this stuff intertwining and the tracks crossing under and over, the monorail. I often thought as a kid, how did they do this? What was first? Was the monorail first, and then they added this, because things are going up and over each other and crossing, and just so much movement. It was a really special place.
So here's a couple photos while Spencer's talking. This was one from D23 that they put up.
That's looking back towards, out of Tomorrowland.
Yeah, so there's one old photo, and then there's another one. This was walking in from Yesterland. That's where I got that photo from Yesterland. They have so many awesome vintage photos. And then what's really cool is I found a photo of my grandpa and my mother when she was a child on the People Mover.
There you go.
There you go. And then there's one where it's behind them.
So the whole thing and why we're talking about this is for years everybody's been asking, do you think they'll redo the People Mover?
I feel like that question gets asked.
We get asked a lot.
All the time.
We've talked directly to Bob Gurr about this. Bob Gurr was the guy one of the Imagineers at Disneyland who basically anything with wheels and anything that moved, he built.
Yeah.
And he was in charge of. He was a car guy. He was a gearhead, and he created, the Matterhorn, the first steel tubular roller coaster in the world.
Yeah.
The monorail. All the cars that you see on Main Street, like Bob Gurr was that guy.
Yeah.
And Bob will tell you that no, it's not coming back, and the structure was compromised because of the rocket rods, and he didn't like rocket rods, to be fair. Neither did I, really. So whenever we got asked that question, we were like, yeah, it's not coming back. Trust me.
Especially with the, is it OSHA? I think I remember it's OSHA.
Well,
or
there's new rules with
safety compliance.
Safety and ADA as far as if a ride stops, you have to be able to evacuate people
within a certain amount of feet.
And you have to be able to evacuate people with disabilities who maybe need wheelchairs or assistance.
Right.
And that old system, really, there was no rules in place at the time when that was built. And so it kind of grandfathered its way through, the decades. Mm-hmm. So they couldn't bring it back without modifying it and changing it.
Right.
So there was a lot of reasons. Structurally, legally, that they could not bring back what used to be the People Mover, especially with the track and what exists still to this day. Mm-hmm. And you see it runs right through the center of Tomorrowland when you walk in. You can't miss it. It's this beam with this track that you're like, I'm sure there's a lot of people who are like, what is that? And
other than a little bit of shade, it's like you walk in and it's like,
what is this thing? Now, they have removed, I heard, all the track that's inside all the show buildings already, because that stuff's out of view of the public and they can work on that all the time. It's the outer structures, the exterior stuff that's still there. The rumor that's been going around, because we're coming up on D23, which is the big Disney convention that happens over there at the Anaheim Convention Center, where they do parks panels and the management and the people that run Disney parks will often make big announcements regarding what is to come for the future of the parks. The last time we went to the parks panel, and everything was about Walt Disney World. Some things were realized, some things weren't, but this is the place where they make the public announcement, and everybody waits with bated breath, just sitting there like, what's going to happen? What are they going to say? Everybody, the talk and the buzz is that this year it's going to be, finally they're going to talk about what is going to happen to Tomorrowland, because for years they've avoided it, and it's the one land that hasn't received any attention.
I think they did that though because they went after Fantasyland the last couple of years. They did say though, they did address, I don't know, so many years ago they said, we eventually will talk about it, but we need to do this first. We need to do the Project Stardust first. Then we need to work on Fantasyland, and then they said they would somewhat address that. So we kind of did know that.
But this is the year that supposedly we're going to hear about it. And
that's like the. I mean, it's been long enough. Number one, and number two, you can't just keep having us walk through this. Like Tomorrowland is in shambles right now. Other than Star Tours and Space Mountain, and Galactic Grill.
Astro Blasters.
Astro Blasters are not even I guess some days they're popular.
No,
but
it's cool, but it's,
You walk through there, though, and we have an empty Starcade building. We have an empty Captain EO building. We have an empty Innoventions building.
Yeah.
You have a track that's literally sitting there. We have a building with that used to have the, what are they called? The Astro Orbiters?
Yeah.
They used to have that and the rocket rods and people mover loading area. Empty, sitting there in the middle of the park, taking up all this space. There's no way that they're not either going to remake it with some sort of an attraction.
Right off of the hub, right off of the plaza. And
right.
The other thing that I'll say is that I never understood why they took the rockets off the roof
and put them in the front.
And blocked the entrance.
Right.
And made it a choke zone. When it was originally designed up there, it literally was above the people mover thing. So you had two attractions in one. Kind of like the submarines and Autopia. Submarines are here. Autopia is right on top of it. It's genius stuff. Same thing with Alice in Wonderland and Mr. Toad's. They're stacked on each other.
I think, though, what they're going to... Oh, we start cracking when we raise our voices.
Okay.
Thank you. So what I think, though, that they need to do, though, is take out or use that central little thing there that has the queue and whatnot in the very center there by Galactic Grill. I don't know what you even call that.
Are you talking about where the rocket jets were?
The people mover hub, yeah. And the rocket jets that are in the very big, like the actual front of Tomorrowland. I think both of those things have got to go. I think you got to take out the America Sings or the Innoventions building, be done with it. Think about all that land. If you were just to get rid of Pizza Planet, as much as I love that pasta so much, get rid of Pizza Planet.
Yeah, the old Mission to Mars building.
The Mission to Mars building. You have the Captain EO Theater. Look at all that space you'd have. And even, I think Dylan told us, they purchased 3 Tron coasters. One is in Shanghai. One is in Orlando. Where's the other one going to go? I don't know.
They have another one left.
They got to do something, because I'll tell you what.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is that the talk is like, is it going to be a major overhaul? Is it going to be just a few fixes? I think technically, because I've heard both sides of it, I think a major overhaul could entail taking out, Launch Bay's building, America Sings, Innoventions, taking out the theater, the old
Captain EO
Theater,
There's so much room back there.
Taking out the existing people mover thing. That's pretty major to me. I don't think they're going to touch Nemo Subs. They just redid it.
No.
Right? Which means they're not going to touch Autopia because that sits on top of it. They could redo Autopia in its place, replace the vehicles, change the track, make it a little more. I always thought for years they could have plussed that attraction pretty easily. I mean, the things you could do with Autopia, and maybe try to get with an electric vehicle company that would sponsor it and try to put it into a progressive mode, because everything's going that direction. the gas
Well, I
powered
think
thing
it's
is
owned
so
by Honda,
antiquated.
and Honda also has some electric capabilities. I think almost all of them do. So
Yeah,
there's
if
no
they were willing
reason
to chip up
why they can't do something
right.
like that. But either
But I still
way,
think it would be a major overhaul in general. That Tomorrow Landing little shop, that little building, Galactic Grill, all that stuff, man.
all of it's got to go. I mean, honestly, from it needs to go. Like I
We're
think
talking-
other than Star Tours and
You're talking
Space
about
Mountain,
half of the space.
more than half.
Yeah,
More
maybe
than half.
yeah.
If you know how big that Captain EO Theater is and all back there, like, do you guys even remember that? Like back over by the entrance,
Well, between the entrance and exit
the queue of Space Mountain. Like, if you
that whole
remember,
section.
there is a lot back there. There's a lot more space than I think we
Starcade,
realize.
above
There's
Star Trader.
so much space. So
But again,
yeah.
that's the thing that they did back in the day that I wish.
And you're right, Dana. That's a good point. I bet they won't do anything until Toontown's complete. That's what I'm saying. Like, they have to go in chunks. So it's
but
like Project Stardust.
You're right
that's
about
an
that.
ongoing thing. They had to get
But I think this is about the
Fantasyland.
time when they would announce it, though. They always announce things about a year or two before they.
Oh yeah, no,
delve in.
I definitely think that this D23 Parks panel, and I don't think we're gonna actually go to the physical Parks panel this year
No.
because there's been years that I haven't gone and I just listened to it. And I remember one year I was in the park and like I think there was like 40 of us like gathered around like listening to the live feed of it because it's
Yeah.
a big deal in the park.
It's being fed live to hundreds of different.
Yeah, so there's no point of us going
No.
and filming the crazy experience and all that. There's
Right.
really no point because I mean you're gonna get the news right away.
You know what I want to do? I want
what?
to be in Tomorrowland listening to the feed when it goes down.
I mean, assuming that that's what they're gonna do, which I'd say it's a very safe bet. But
That's what I
Project
put my money on.
Stardust is basically like the widening of walkways.
The park.
It's basically like what they did when they raised or lowered, I guess,
The Pirates
curbs.
entrance?
No,
Oh.
like curbs. So they like stretched it out. Like it. Unfortunately, you lose stuff with Project Stardust.
Well, the
but
reason I
is
think
what
it was
is.
called Stardust was because it came with the.
There is more ADA compliance.
It came with Galaxy's Edge, and that's why it was called Stardust, because they were so worried that Galaxy's Edge was going to be in such high demand that the throngs of people that to and from would be massive. Which
Well, that's what you're thinking. Why it was called Stardust.
it was implemented because of Galaxy's Edge originally to handle the crowds of Galaxy's Edge, and then it went a little further, to just widening everything to accommodate in New Orleans Square, Phantasmic coming back. They widened everything. They took out that upper level thing that was over there.
There's a lot of it, so it just made for better crowd flow, and that's like the real idea of it was just that it's supposed to be, a better way to flow traffic, a little bit better with ADA compliance. But to be honest with you, we still need better ADA compliance. And I know I don't personally. I'm not in a a scooter and I'm not in a wheelchair, but from what I can see, it looks like it's pretty difficult for them, and
All right,
I'm hoping that gets better.
Did anyone see, this is from CB, Scott Trowbridge's tweet about being at work in the Tomorrowland Motorpark Cruise area? Yes.
Huh?
So.
Oh, yeah, dude, we saw that.
So that was interesting because, by the
So-
way, that was a really fun attraction. I got to do that a lot when I was a kid. I loved the motorboats, especially at night. For some reason, I love doing it at night. You could see that they had little lights on the boats that were red and green for port and starboard side and whatever. But that has been kind of a dead area for so long. There's that little, what used to be the queue where you would load up on the boats is now just a tables and eating area. It used to be a smoking area before that, but they banned smoking in the parks, thank goodness. And now it's just become a seating area to hang out with the ducks and eat your food over there.
Mm-hmm.
But that, I wonder if with that rumor of the People Mover, that if they were to tear out, like you were saying, the People Mover thing in the center of the park, would they start it over there? And maybe that was where the People Mover would go. Or is there an entire new attraction going in on that side, utilizing the waterway over there under the monorail? Because I don't think they're going to move the monorail. That's my guess. Why would they move the monorail?
No.
That's a major, major thing. But that area itself what could that be? And what does that mean? Is it related to the People Mover? That's still Tomorrowland, technically.
Yeah, and I don't know why that was tweeted that way. I don't know, and we didn't read the whole thread on it because we don't have Twitter, so we literally just got a screenshot of it.
Right.
And then I went and found it and got the actual little clip, and I was like, that's weird that he would say that and post that. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I wanted to kind of go through and like read to see what everybody else was saying, but then again, I was like, well, better I don't spiral.
And yes, happy.
Thank you so much for the $5 super chat, Peter. Do you guys know if the floating marble ball fountain by Space Mountain has any significance? Donated by someone? Not that I know of.
I've never heard anything about that. No.
But do you guys remember the little fountains over there that you could run in and like get wet? Like when I was a kid, that was so much fun over there. It was so much fun.
Happy Face Cookie said Motorboat Cruise was great. It was gummy bears at one point. Yeah, in its later...
It was Gummy Glen.
Yeah, in its later years, it became Gummy Glen, where they had some gummy bears, you know, theming to what originally was just the Motorboat Cruise.
Right. Yeah, no, it was so much fun.
That was another part of the kinetic movement that was in Tomorrowland, because you had the cars, monorail, buckets, People Mover, motorboats. I mean, everything intertwining. Like,
see, Blakely remembers 90s kids.
Yeah.
We were lucky.
And the Matterhorn, I should say, because half of the Matterhorn is Tomorrowland, half of it is Fantasyland.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to understand that too.
Jocelyn, thank you for the $5 super chat. We appreciate that. Would you guys ever go to Disney Paris? Of course we would.
Sure.
What do we speculate that's next to Blue Bayou? We actually talked about that in one of our videos semi-recently.
Yeah.
But we're thinking it's going to be a quick service, place to get gumbo, beignets, everything like,
there's
New
literally
Orleans,
signage up that says it, that teases
cooking
it.
up,
Yeah, and that'll probably come with the new attraction.
This is interesting. Amber says, this could be controversial, but living with the land could be a good inspirational idea for Tomorrowland. Too much to explain why would be important as a World of Tomorrow idea, though. I see where you're going with that, because just yesterday we were standing next to the pomegranate tree standing there, and I was sitting there going like, man, I wish we did have something to like show people all the like the growth and like the food that's grown there. It's insane. So it would be really cool.
Sadly, things like Living with the Land fall into that old category of Disney where it was World's Fair.
Educational.
Edutainment. And that was kind of World's Fair style stuff. Epcot has a lot of that. That's why I love Epcot, because it to me, as a 70s kid, brings back that edutainment vibe that used to be in Disneyland and Tomorrowland, where they were educating you while you were being entertained. And so I don't know that there's a market for that anymore. I feel there's a need for it.
Yeah.
But we were talking to Dylan last night about this stuff about, IP versus original, and how everything seems to be just going the IP route because it has to be multi-aspect, as far as you got to be able to have merch, and it's got to be able to, the movie has to feed the attraction and vice versa. And all these avenues of making money for something, as opposed to, Pirates of the Caribbean originally was just Pirates of the Caribbean. Then the movie spawned out of that, and then the movie went back and influenced the ride. Same with Haunted Mansion. These were just ideas that were generic ideas that had nothing to do with an IP or a movie, but then they inspired movies in the end. Tiki Room, Matterhorn. Now Matterhorn was inspired by a movie, but it wasn't directly linked
like,
to it.
Finding Nemo. It wasn't like...
there was a movie called Third Man on the Mountain.
Right.
That he did that inspired the Matterhorn, but you don't see a direct relate to it. It was just like an inspiration, a jump off point. So, I wish that they would do something like Living with the Land, but I fear that the company's focus is on IP and with R&D and research and development, and the money being spent to create themes. They don't want to do it outside of a movie. They want to be able to take all that R&D and that research and everything and spawn a movie, an attraction, merchandise, music, all of it based on one research and development type of angle.
Whenever you say research and development, I keep thinking of Step Brothers.
I know you do.
Research and development.
So sadly, I wish they would bring like a Living with the Land type thing, but I know that they're in their minds, they're thinking like kids aren't going to dig it because it has nothing to do with a movie or a video game or.
It's a sad like thing we're going through nowadays where it's like you need to have some sort of like an IP, otherwise it's like what? And it's easy and it costs less.
And I think, I hate to say this, but I think one of the failures of that, I don't want to say a failure, but I think one of the downfalls and the things that didn't really like land that well to me personally, this could be just me, don't judge me on this, it's my opinion, but like Avengers Campus,
I know we always come on here on What's Happening Wednesday and we're not positive about Avengers Campus. We need to be better. I'm sorry.
No, but there are things I like about it, but I'm just saying.
No, you're right. Like I love the characters.
But that's an example of like
the food.
IP doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be a hit and translate to a theme park experience.
Would you like it more if would you like it more in Avengers Campus if it had more shade?
Yeah.
I'm just scared they're going to take away original memories we have as kids, though. I mean, it is going to happen. Okay, so I want to know a show of hands, I guess, or something. Would you prefer Avengers Campus or Bugs Land? I feel like we've asked this before, but I always want to know, like, what is it? Do you know how Disney handles ticket scalpers? You can sell them to people if you want. Like, you're not supposed to, but you can. Like, I know that we gave tickets to family members and it was fine. So that was that. Okay, Bugs. Interesting. Avengers Camp. A lot more people like Avengers than I thought. That's crazy. Bugs. I mean, they do just need like okay, so in my opinion to make Avengers Campus better, I would say give us more shade, more to do, because it is boring over there. Like, it makes me cry. And the music's way too loud. It's like, John, John, John. You're just like, geez, Louise, like, take it down.
Well,
take it down.
The thing that's a bummer is that, here's the attractions that you have.
It's so funny.
You have Guardians of the Galaxy, which was already there, and it was just reskinned. And then you have Web Slingers, and that's it. Mm-hmm. So it's not really. We need
an e-ticket.
It's not really a land.
Tim.
Hello, Tim.
Sorry, I got it.
It's not really a. As far as Disney goes, to me it doesn't qualify as like a proper land, and I know it's not called a land because they said they weren't going to call them lands anymore. That's why it's Avengers Campus.
It's a campus.
And that's why Galaxy's Edge is not Star Wars Land.
But like, what's going on with the Hyperion Theater?
But essentially. Like, in a weird way, you can really just say that there's only one attraction in there, and it's Web Slingers. Because Guardians is like...
No, Guardians counts as the land.
I know it counts, but it's like...
I don't know.
It was already there, and it's like on the edge, and it's like, oh, we're going to kind of... Oh, yeah, that's a part of it, too. It's just, I don't know.
It's not that it's not... The parts that are done aren't... Like the... What is it, Doctor Strange? That part over there looks really cool, but...
It would have been better to have an attraction, though, like
something. It's like what?
Give the kids a dark ride or something, like a cool Avengers dark ride that has like a lot of characters involved, and it's something for the little guy. I don't know.
Downer, that's gonna crackle. Well, not only that, but I think like it needs a little something else. And honestly, I think even Galaxy's Edge needs a little something else too. To be honest with you, I
agree. I could agree with that. But I have to say that
needs to be done there. But what needs more help? Avengers Campus. I don't ever want to go through there. There's times where people want to we're hanging out with our friends and like, do you want to walk through Avengers Campus? I'm like, no, absolutely not. I don't even want to walk through it.
So what I think it needs, and this is just me. Who am I? But you know how they have the spider bots on the top of a couple of the buildings, like caught in a web. Mm-hmm. They need more of that kind of stuff. That was a great idea, and I thought that was cool because otherwise it's so bland. Mm-hmm. And yes, they have great food options.
It's loud and hot.
They have a cool bar and all that stuff.
Right.
Great, but what do the kids get to do? Like, the kids don't want to get a shawarma.
Yeah.
You're right. They don't care about that. Now the characters are there. That's cool. Um, but that's kind of what it seems to be, is a showcase for
Margaret's right. It lacks
characters.
whimsy. I don't know. There's
Yeah.
just it feels so cold and like emotionless and very like maybe that's what it's supposed to be though. I don't know.
Even weirdly, like Pixar Pier has more whimsy and more like.
Somebody said I like the loud music. Okay, well I feel
Cool.
you there. I mean, there are some people.
Thank goodness somebody likes.
I know. Yeah, no, there are people that really like that land. I don't get it.
It just
For myself.
and I know it's not a big footprint. It's not a very large.
It's distant. And honestly,
place,
like
but
it's so crazy though, because if you're thinking about what flows into Cars Land better, it's totally Bugs Land. Bugs Land worked so much better
But I have
into
to
Cars
say,
Land.
I do like their
Oh
food
my gosh,
offerings.
I'm there for Captain America.
I like when
I'm
Captain
there for
America,
Thor.
the Halloween Captain America, when he's like all like
Oh no,
demonic.
That scared Kaylee. We walked past it and she was
as
like,
it should.
no.
But I have to say, their food offerings and their bar thing is very cool.
Very
like,
good, yeah.
I loved a lot of the food that they offered over there.
Mm-hmm.
But do kids really care about that stuff? I don't know.
No.
Is Avengers Campus more for the young teens and the young adults? Maybe it is.
Probably, yeah.
Because
maybe that's the idea that they
because
wanted.
DCA
I
maybe
guess.
has a little bit of a higher age thing, but I mean you do have Aerials and you do have Cars Land. Kids love both of those areas. I think kids love Pixar Pier. I think they love the Goofy Sky School in those areas.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's hard to say.
Oh, Victor's here. Hi, Victor.
Victor.
And Brittany's here, and I notice looks like Brian's in here. All right. Maybe
See,
I think maybe
Victor's
it's,
down with the shawarma. I
think
know.
maybe it's too compact for what they were trying to do because there's so many different universes with Marvel and so little land. Personally,
True.
I don't have a strong opinion on the land, but actually that makes a really good point. Disney Fangirl, any tips for Oogie Boogie first timer on opening day?
Oh boy. Okay.
It's really just busy and very hot, but my first
Get there early.
Yeah, just
Get there early. Take advantage of that. They give you the 3 hours prior to your ticket being or the party starting. Take advantage of that. Here's why I say that. It'll give you time to kind of acclimate. They often will open randomly some of those photo ops early, and you'll be able to get.
If you like photo ops, like we don't care about them,
But
but
there's
if
a
you
lot
like
of there's a lot of good ones that end up like, say there's one you really want to see and you want to go to, you could wait an hour for that, and that's going to cut into your short little window of 4 to 5 hours of that party. So if you could get that early, now it's not dark when you get there early, but I think there's some value in getting there early.
Yeah.
Also, you can hit a few attractions maybe, or
if you're one of those people that you really just want to get on rides, that'll give you a good chance at doing that.
Now, also, I would say...
And thank you, Terry. That's a good one. Bring your own big bag. If candy is your thing, bring your own bag.
You can bring 2 bags. They don't care.
You can bring 5 bags.
You could walk up with 2 bags, and they'll
and
put stuff in
also
both
maybe
of them.
get a locker if that's something like you're going to want to buy a lot of merchandise. You're going to want a lot of candy.
Yeah.
Get a locker before they're gone.
And also, make a plan of kind of what your goals are. Do you want to do Villains Grove? Do you want to see the parade?
Do you want to get food? Do you want to get candy?
What are your goals? And kind of map those out, because I will tell you this. You will not be able to do everything that they offer in one night.
Yeah.
It's nearly impossible.
And another thing is, see the second show. Don't go to the first, and by show I mean the parade.
The parade.
Don't try to see the first parade because it's just more people aren't watching it the second time.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit better doing that. That's what I would...
And the parade goes from the Garden Grill area all the way through Hollywood Boulevard, right?
To Avengers Campus. But like the other side of Avengers Campus,
and it's
through Hollywood Boulevard.
I would say you don't want to miss the parade. You don't want to miss Villains Grove. And then from there, pick and choose your treat trails that you want to do, because it's hard to do all the treat trails. But, the treat trails have different characters involved. And if you could find out what those are.
Bye, Timmy.
Bye, Tim.
We love you.
That's what I would say. Make a game plan. You know what I mean? Try to get as much information as you can beforehand. If you're going on a day that is after the opening day, watch some videos to see, people are, everybody's showing, what there is to offer and really make a game plan. I think that's the key.
Brad, that's a good question. Will they sell more tickets for Oogie Boogie? We talked about this, I think, last week or the week prior, but I definitely think that they're going to.
We think that they will.
I think they'll release more tickets.
Don't quote us on that.
Yeah.
That's
I can't give you a definitive answer,
but gut feeling.
If I had to, if it was like on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and they were going to ask me, like, what do you think will happen?
No.
I just watched Slumdog Millionaire, so that's why I said that. But I definitely think, because I think the majority of people aren't buying and planning their Halloween stuff in July.
Yeah.
I mean, Knott's hasn't even done their, Halloween thing, and they have one of the biggest Halloween events in Orange County. So, yeah, I really think that's what's going to happen. What is better, the Christmas party or the Halloween party? I'd say the Halloween party,
yeah.
and that's coming from someone who prefers Christmas over Halloween in general.
Now,
but I think there's just more to offer, more to do.
Now, it was also the very first Christmas party that Disneyland had ever done. Mm-hmm. So we'll give them a little
break on that. I'm still like so salty that they did that, because it's like we used to just have that for free. I know that they added some things like the Muppet thing and whatnot, but like, I don't know. Like,
the thing that bummed me out.
I don't think you should be charging an upcharge for that.
Certain parts of it
makes me mad.
Certain parts of it, I understand. The exclusivity and charging more. The thing that bummed me out was they did projections on Main Street that were so amazing.
Oh, they were gorgeous.
That I felt like, this should be for everybody who gets admission to this park for the holiday season, because it made everything look like a gingerbread house, and like the colors and
it was so warm, and
it really set the tone for the holiday season. Now, prior to having that, I would have never, said
thought
like
twice about
no, but after seeing it, I was like, I literally said it to you. I was like, this should be for everybody.
Right. That's what I think. What was
turn on the lights,
me the
and turn on the projections,
time.
And let people have this.
But that's what was bothering me the entire time.
For the amount of money that people are paying to get in there,
right?
Give them the projections.
Well, no, even like, I don't know. I just felt like even if you were to take all the extra that you gave for the party, I think there's no reason why that couldn't have been given to the public during Halloween during Christmas season. Like, I don't think that it was enough to justify another $100+ ticket, to be honest. Like, I think everybody traveling there during Christmas season, or any season in general, deserves the best experience ever. I think it should be world class, because Disney is incredible. They're the best. That's why we really generally only go there.
I get the Muppets thing.
I don't think that should be an upcharge. I think that should be a parade. Yeah. I think that should be incorporated in a parade for everybody. I think that should be included in a ticket price.
Well,
I think upcharging it for a little party like that was absolutely cruel to do to people.
We're in a day and age where
it's all about money.
Everything gets upcharged.
And it's horrible.
It's sad that if you want a better experience, you have to pay for it, as opposed to, people who want a better spot for the parade, they sit and wait for a couple hours. Well, soon that's probably not going to be a reality, because they're probably going to...
I know, be like, oh yeah, pay
I hate to say this, and trust me, I'm not giving them any ideas, because they've already thought of all this stuff.
I hope you're wrong.
But that area in front of the castle where people wait for hours to see fireworks up close? I would put money on the fact that in the future that area will be you have to pay for that. You can't sit there at all. You can't sit and wait 3 hours for it.
Right.
You have to pay top dollar for it, and that saddens me. Look, they started charging for fast passes, dude. There was a couple years ago where we were like joking about that stuff, and then it happened.
And here we are.
So, sadly, if there's any experience in the park that is like better than another experience, like if you happen to know, like, hey, this is a great spot right here to catch this, Disney knows, and they're going to be we're going to take that for our own, and we're going to charge people $25 a piece to sit here or to do this.
I know, Michelle, that's what my point is, though. You're already paying for a park ticket, but see what they're doing, though.
Yeah.
We're talking about they're going to upcharge. So, like, you're already paying for a ticket. Like, look at this. You're paying for Lightning Lane now. We used to have that included
Yeah,
for Max Pass. Like
right. Well,
it's crazy.
and
So that's what we're talking
prior
about.
to that, it was free, and it was like first
where
come
does
first
the
serve.
slippery slope? Like where does it end? You know what we're saying? Like that's what we're talking about. Like where
Sadly,
is the line?
They're gonna push it until they get pushed back.
Yeah,
that's kind of how
and
it goes.
will that ever happen? I don't know.
It depends on
what is that threshold. Like, is the economy and all the stuff happening?
Supply
I don't know.
and demand, and when the demand drops, they will backpedal. But until the demand drops, that's how it's going to go, and they're going to that's the reality of supply and demand.
Yeah, so we'll see what's going to happen. But if we for people that go to the park as often as we do, and what we've seen happen to it, I wouldn't be surprised to see that if that doesn't happen. So sadly, it seems like it's going that way. I mean, I look at how much the parks have changed just from the 60th. Look at how, I mean, I keep having to say this, but like, no joke, the magic that was there during the 60th was incredible. Like, it was absolutely just, it was this whole different vibe. I mean, now, and I use this as an example a lot, but there was something about how you'd be able to just walk up, get a Dole Whip, and go sit in the tiki room. Now it's so complicated. You have to wait an hour prior and figure out, I want to get a Dole Whip. I'm going to have to sit on my phone and figure that whole thing out. Or you can go over to the Tropical Hideaway.
The whole reason that Dole sponsored the tiki room was because they had their little hut right there.
Excuse me.
And it was one of the few attractions that you could bring something to eat in there. Dole said, we'll sponsor this. Let us have our thing right there. Mm-hmm. You can get the Dole Whip, wait in line, go in. Why is it sitting right there? It's not sitting there for you to go wait an hour for it and go ride another attraction, come back. It's sitting there because it was like...
And we're just using this as an example. I have many other
It was a one-stop shop. It was like, get your Dole Whip, stand by for Tiki Room, go to Tiki Room, eat your Dole Whip, and leave. That's the idea. That's why it was set up that way.
It was like this little like tropical vacation inside of Disneyland, but now it's turned into this like complicated... Like, you want to...
well, that's the weird thing about Disneyland now, and we talked about this yesterday with Dylan, was like the creative minds and the thought that is put into how things are designed, physically laid out, have all kind of gone to the wayside as far as like even the Mickey and Friends parking area. Like, that's a very recent change that they made there. It used to be you'd walk down and there was the double-sided tram stops with the trees and all that. They ripped that out. They created the new, security thing under the Pixar Palace thing.
But now they
designed that
blocks.
whole area, right? With people who were forward-thinking and very smart people. But now, ever since we've come back, there's these weird barriers that they bought to block it off.
And they're so hideous.
And you have to go through this one channel where the dog sniffing thing is and all that. Where was that 5 years ago? And like, I don't think that the people who thought of it were thinking so narrow-mindedly. They were thinking broad of like 10, 20 years of like, here's what we need. We have to design this a certain way. And then people come along and change it for what reason? And there's so many things at Disneyland like that. Like, why are we getting dropped off on the trams into a load of people who are waiting to get on the tram? Well, interestingly, they designed a drop-off zone on the opposite side where they drop people off. Tram goes around the curve and then goes to pick up people. Genius, right? Mm-hmm. Somebody thought of that. Somebody really smart thought of that and designed that as such. Now, for some reason, probably because some penny pincher thought, I'm going to save fuel and time, drop the people off at the same spot where we're picking the people up. Why are we dropping them off over there? Oh, I don't know, because it's efficient and smart. Mm-hmm. But no, now they drop you off into a load of people and it's awkward and weird and they're trying to get on and you're trying to get off. And it's like, wait a minute, somebody thought long and hard and went to school and got a degree so that we wouldn't have to do that.
Right.
And now they're doing that. And so I just don't understand why certain things at Disneyland have gone backwards on genius design and genius thought.
You think things would be a little bit easier at Disneyland,
it's so bizarre.
I think Galactic Grill is another example, like where these poor cast members are just being drugged through the have you ever like sat and watched? Like, I've sat and watched when I was waiting for him to get some clips I sat and watched these cast members over at Galactic Grill back there, and they are working their tails off. Like, there's hardly enough people to cover the demand on a busy day. And instead of having, they used to have this, world where you could walk up, there was like 14 windows. You walk by and there's 14 windows where you could just order, move to the right, grab your food, and go. Now, all those windows half of them are not even being utilized, but you have one window where you can go up and walk and order, with a massive line wrapping all the way around over to near Matterhorn. And you have everybody else mobile ordering, and the mobile ordering is so backed up, you have to plan to eat on a busy day, at least an hour in advance. And then even when you hit I'm here, you're not going to get your food right away, because these poor cast members are just, they're struggling. And I feel for the cast members. I feel like a lot of this, it's so backed up because they're not enough of them. I don't know if they're treating the cast members great. I don't know. Like, I think they're short-staffed. I think they're getting overworked. I've seen some people, going like, oh, this is a 12-hour shift for me. And I'm like, what? And it's 90 degrees out here. You're in the elements. Like, I just think we need to do better for our cast members. I just don't know if that's what Walt would have done. Like, he seemed like such a...
Well, it's just...
And I hate to bring up that argument and say that, but doing that to these cast members, it makes me sick, really. Like, they deserve better. I don't know. What happened to old-fashioned just standing in line to order food? I think that goes back to, the whole, there's not enough cast members, their shortage of things, and then the portions of things have gone down.
I think that there is an effort to make things more efficient with technology, but then I think that gets ahead of efficiency, because I think that
I do think that has a part in it, but I also think there's the cutbacks and the cutting corners.
Right, but I think that there is a like, okay, so this thing, right, the phone, the device, whatever.
Yeah.
I think there's such a push and a need to implement that.
Yeah.
That it gets in the way of actual efficiency, because they're like, no, we need to figure out a way to use, for people to use their device. Did you see how they put
that parking thing on? It's like, just take a photo of where you park and move on.
But that's my point, is I think that they get ahead of themselves as far as critical thinking. And they're like, somebody would say, yeah, but if you do that, it's going to be more effort to do a certain thing. And they're like, yeah, but we have to use the thing. And they're so caught up in the technology and using it that they lose sight of actual efficiency.
Yeah. Of
like what, maybe using the phone isn't always the answer.
Yeah.
It's probably not, but they will.
Well, not to mention, then you're frustrating. The problem is, then you have these guests that are frustrated and hot and pissed off.
Yeah.
And then these cast members, again, that are not getting paid enough, in my opinion, are just like, they're getting the brunt of it, and they're just getting beaten down. And of course, if I were them, I'd be beaten down to the point where I'm like, I don't know if I have the mental or emotional capacity to deal with this today. So I see why a lot of them are calling out on top of it. Like, they're giving them these rules. Like, imagine, I know my mom is one of those people. She can't deal with a mobile order thing. She'd be like, can I just order some French fries for my, granddaughter at a thing? I don't want to stand in a line going, there's one thing open at Galactic Grill. One line. On a busy day, like, that's insane. So I think they're not improving the park experience.
Also, to be fair, to give them some credit, because I'm being very critical.
That's what our job is, though.
Right, but to be fair,
yeah,
we are in a time in between two certain things happening, right? We've got the waiting in line and then mobile order technology. We're right in the middle of it. So you've got half of it. Or not even half, but it's kind of split right now. So we're not fully in the...
And yes, they are short-staffed.
We're not fully in the technology zone of being full mobile order and having it efficient yet.
Right.
We're still in that interim phase of people are still like, yeah, but can't I just wait in line? And it's like, we're not there yet. And so people's minds haven't advanced or evolved into being completely dependent on a mobile device. there's still people that wait in line, and then there's also people that are just so used to using the mobile device. So we're stuck in the middle, and we're in that weird time where an evolvement is happening, but it hasn't completely happened yet. So,
Right.
like, as I'm being very critical, I also understand that we're in that stage of, like, you know, of that evolvement. Like,
Right.
we're half in it. One foot is in that
Right.
pond and one foot's in this pond, and
Well,
we're kind
then
of
you
like,
have the
you know,
whatever Chapek is. Honestly, like then
whatever
you have
Chapek
whatever
is,
he is.
don't let
Well,
me
you
tell you
have
what
him
he
like
is,
penny pinching, and just really
with
degrading.
no sense of creativity.
He's degrading the magic experience.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of these things are happening in addition to low cast members. So it's a really tough time at the parks, to see, because it's always going to be our magical place, and it's a place that we like love so much. But at the same time, it's really hard to watch the customer experience go so far down where I know at least, like, personally, 4 different people that are not renewing their passes, that have been pass holders as long as I've been. So it's crazy to see that they're finally, it's not, I thought, they would price people out, but they're actually servicing people out. You know what I mean? And they're also losing cast members that aren't coming back because they're like, dude, I'm not getting paid enough to get yelled at and ridiculed, and
Well,
it's hard.
you also have to realize that a lot of people that wanted to be cast members and want to be are people like anybody else who've gone there and gone, wow, what a magical, beautiful place this is. How cool would it be to work here?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
As that wanes, as people like Chapek start taking away that magic vibe.
Oh, and the new attendance point system.
You get less people who go in there and think that way. You get less people who go in there and go, wow, this would be such an awesome place to work. It's so magical and amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That starts to wane. And so that's where you get just people who they're just looking for a gig, which props and kudos to them for looking for a gig to better themselves and to support their lives.
Yeah.
But they're not there for the passion of being like, I work at Disneyland and how awesome
and
is
again,
that?
that's not everybody, but that's what's going to start happening.
Right.
That's what we're saying.
So it's just interesting that, because the reason I started going as an adult, okay, because I've been going to Disneyland since the 70s, but the reason I started going as an adult, and I have friends who have said the exact same thing, is it's a place to go where everybody is in a good mood. The cast members and all the people that run the place are positive and nice, and it's like uplifting, and it's a nice break from the ugliness that is the world and the stresses and the bad negativity that's in the world that it's just how it is, right?
Yeah.
It's an escapism vibe when you go to Disneyland and everybody's like hello, and you get to interact with these people that just bring the level up because you are in the happiest place on earth, and they are exuding everything about that statement. That statement is the jump off for everything at Disneyland.
Yeah.
This is the happiest place on earth.
And
From
it
there,
really feels
everything should fall under that umbrella. And that's why I started going as an adult, because it was like, I work really hard at what I do. I'm out in the world like everybody else doing, fighting the negativity and trying to keep a stiff upper lip and do what I got to do as a responsible adult. But I'm going to go to Disneyland to escape. Why do people go surfing? Why do people go to a park? Why do people go on a hike or on a walk? To, escape all that. And that's what Disneyland is. Mm-hmm. So if they start losing that, that is the essence and the draw and everything that Disneyland is. Mm-hmm. And the more that the Chapeks get a hold of it and take away that aspect of it, the worse it becomes, and it's like,
and we just don't want to lose that, because and when we're saying all this, keep in mind, we're not saying that we don't go and just meet and love and have some wonderful experience. That's why
absolutely.
We keep going, and we'll continue to keep going. We'll continue. If it got to a point where it was like, literally the opposite of what Spencer just described, obviously we aren't going to go. But
Correct.
I think what we're saying is we can see where it's going.
We're there enough
and it's scary to see that.
We're there enough to let you know about that. Now, does that mean that if you go, you're not going to have a good experience and get to escape?
No, yeah,
of
you'll
course not.
definitely still get that. We wouldn't tell you otherwise, or we wouldn't have,
Right.
Our videos where we're sharing what we're doing, because we keep it real. There is times where we're like, oh, we kind of didn't have the best day, or we had like, a little snag.
Right.
That does happen. So my point is just that we're seeing where it could possibly go, and I think we always want to be advocates for people that don't get to go as often, and that's your magical vacation. Like, that's why we make some of these videos,
right.
not just because it makes us happy and we make a living off of it, but we want. How many times we get approached in the park? Hey, we watched your videos because they really helped us plan our trip. Or, you told us, hey, these restrooms or whatever it is, try this food, whatever it may be. And so I guess our point is we're constantly trying to advocate for the travelers that are coming maybe once a month. Or
so much money.
Right. I mean, because let's be real, like the value of $1, it's so hard to earn money nowadays. And if you're going to go there and spend it, we want to try to do the best we can to give you the best experience. So if we have to advocate and be loudmouths and complain about things like a Dole Whip not being easily accessible, fine, I'll take that, and I'll look like,
it's only,
I'll look like whatever. But the point is I'm going to do that because, sure, it'll make my life a little bit easier, but I get to go all the time, and that's wonderful for me. But I want, the family that lives in Montana that maybe gets to go once a year, I want them to come and have the most flawless and amazing experience,
of
because
course.
that's what's in my heart.
And we only say it because we've seen it devolve.
Yes.
We know what the potential is, and we know where it lies now.
Right.
So we can't, as you said earlier, we have to be real about it. We
Right.
can't sit there and go, yeah, but it's cool. It's like, no, it used to be better. So why is it not still better?
Right.
And so it's hard when you've been there to not kind of, pontificate about that and talk about that and let people know, hey, it could be better, and it should be better.
Because some people don't realize this was like, if I had somebody that had never been to Disneyland, we met 3 people last week that had never been to Disneyland, right? Ever. It was their first time. So you're not going to realize that, like, it's not normal to go to Galactic Grill and have one line to get into, or have to sit on your phone just to get a Dole Whip, or sit on your
stalls,
phone just to do
a
lightning lane and have to pay for this and book this at this time and park hop at 1 o'clock, and then you have to get up at 7 a.m. because if you want to buy the genie, you need to do that. But if you're staying at a resort, you get to go an hour early. It's like all these complicated BS rules, and then at the same time, you're getting aggravated, and the only people that are there to talk to about it are these poor cast members. So it's like we want to just stop all of it, and again, we have to talk about that, and that's the only way things get fixed. It's just like the crap that's going on with us, with our bullying thing. It's like the more we just ignore crap like that, it doesn't change things. It's like, no, we're going to talk about it. We're going to try and figure it out, and maybe we do have to have the difficult conversation, but that's how things get done.
Well, I think. It's like you get a cut and you ignore it and you don't clean it. Mm-hmm. It will get infected. Mm-hmm. You can't ignore
everything.
You can't ignore things. You can't ignore things and expect them just to go away.
Right.
Which,
look
like
how
you said,
the trams came back. That they were getting thousands of emails a day.
Right. They would have probably not come back at the time they did, had people not complained. We know for a fact from people on the inside that they were getting thousands and thousands of complaints, and at a certain point, that pushback makes them go, all right, we're gonna get bad press about this, and it's gonna turn ugly for us. So we gotta, otherwise they're gonna be like, well, nobody's saying anything.
Yeah, they'll just let it go.
That's just how it is.
But my point is remember, like, we love to have these things better for us as well. Like, I won't lie to you. Like, there's no part of me that doesn't think, oh, hey, like, I really want this to be better for myself. But at the end of the day, we wouldn't put time and effort into making videos. Yeah, we do happen to make a living off of it, thankfully. However, we wouldn't put this time and effort if we didn't really give a crap
Yeah.
about your vacation being wonderful.
Yeah.
Or your trip. Or even if you're going once a month, I
Well,
still want it to be great.
I also equate it to like, say you go surfing every single day, somewhere, let's say it's, here in Malibu or in Newport Beach or something like that. And someone asks you, hey, what's the water temp today? You can definitely tell them what the water temperature is because you're in that every single day. Like I remember when I was surfing every day, I could tell you within 1 degree of like, it's about 64, 65 today. But if you jump in and having not been in that ocean for a long time or never been in that ocean, it's almost impossible for you to sit there and tell me what the actual temperature is because you just don't have that everyday experience of being in there, knowing what 64 feels like and, jumping in and going, oh yeah, I know what that feels like. I know today it's a little colder. What is the read? Oh, 64. After years, you start to kind of log in that information and so like we're at Disneyland so much and we're on the ground so much that we feel it's our obligation to tell you, hey, here's what the temperature is right now. Here's what it used to be. Here's, now it's this. And so we have that luxury of being able to tell you how it really is, as opposed to, somebody who goes there, oh, I've been going there for the last 4 days. Okay, great. But that's not really a comprehensive overview of like how it is. I've been going there since like the 70s and you've been going there since like the 90s, So that's what we mean about that and why we were expressive about it and passionate about it. That's all.
And that being said, I think Harry Chest, which has literally the best screen name ever, especially with Gaston for the Avatar, it's really nice to have the nighttime spectaculars back. I will say that is something there with all this, there is some negative parts and those are sadly outweighing a lot of this, but the reality is there are some very good things and that is one of them. But even, it's just one of those things though that, while there is that yuck stuff happening, it is great though that like the normalcy and the happiness of having, nighttime spectaculars back, it feels better. And I truly wish that soon, things will get better over at Walt Disney World, because I know they're kind of, all they have is, some fireworks shows. Like they kind of deserve a little bit more too. So hopefully,
but I do
that
like
over there.
The Epcot show, the Harmonious.
Harmonious is so good.
It wasn't very well received in the beginning, but
which
you know
I didn't understand when I first saw it. I cried. So good.
I think they're a very critical audience over there, and they've had some great shows, and I understand why they're critical because they're passionate about their stuff out there, and kind of like we are here. So I don't hold that against people for being critical about it. But after we saw it a couple of times, it was like, wow,
it was beautiful.
I really like this. And when you see tomorrow's video, we were there afternoon into evening, and we got to experience like not only some attractions and some fun and hanging out with friends and some new things, but we got like a smattering of Fantasmic. We got a bunch of World of Color, all in one little evening. And so knowing that stuff's there, we even got a little Mickey's Mixed Magic because they did new fireworks last night. But it's cool that you don't have to, we're proof of this, you don't have to go post up for 3 hours and wait for something. You can, but you can also kind of catch things on flyby, as I call them. Like we flew by Fantasmic, and we got to see some behind the scenes stuff happening over by Critter Country, and then we got to see some stuff as we moved our way through New Orleans Square on our way to the gate to go to DCA. We caught a couple scenes of Fantasmic. You can't miss it. It's so big, So because that's there, it's like you don't have to see the whole show, but it's nice to be able to see just a little bit of it and just feel the excitement. And then boom, we're over there at World of Color and enjoying that, and then closing down the park and I don't know. It's just there's still a lot of stuff to be happy and positive about. So don't get us wrong when we're being critical. We just feel like you deserve to hear it from people who've been there for a long time.
We aren't going to sugarcoat it.
No.
By the way, though, we are coming up. We are a little over our time. So we have a Patreon live stream. If you want to keep hanging out, you're more than welcome to join.
Yes.
You do just have to join the Patreon. We have 2 tiers. You can read about it on there.
Yeah.
But we're going to continue this on. So, besties, we are going to be on there. Oh, look who got off of work and joined us. Hello, Jason.
Mr. DeYoung.
So we are going to be on there. Give us about like 5 or 10 minutes. We have to charge up the phone a little bit more because we're not technically savvy.
And if you guys want to, if you came in late, we did talk about the People Mover rumors and all that stuff. So go rewatch it. We got in deep about what's going on in our theories and all that's about. We may continue to talk about that in the Patreon stream.
Yeah, it depends on what they want to chat about.
We get into all sorts of subjects in the Patreon community with our crew, our besties, and it's a fun time. So,
Jason, you can come into the Patreon one though, because you're moderator.
No, he's not allowed.
Yep.
Just kidding. Love Jason. But thank you everyone for joining us and for being a part of this live stream. Thank you to everybody who donated a super chat. Everybody who asked questions. People, I'm sorry, certain folks, we didn't get to your questions or your comments.
If you do want to join the Patreon or have any questions about it, the link is in the description box of all of our videos. I can actually put it in right now.
Yeah, you guys get behind the scenes content, especially just for Patreons that no one else sees. We have Zoom calls. We have these live streams that we're about to do. Meetups, things like that. So it's it's just an added layer of best life that you can live.
And you don't have to stay on it too. Some people just join for a month and enjoy it. Some don't. I mean, you do whatever you want to do. So,
yeah, but it's a if you feel like supporting us that way, if you just want to watch our videos, that's a great way to support us as well.
Lower the things crackling.
All right. Yeah, like I said, if you just want to support us by watching our videos, that helps us out drastically.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure to give this video a thumbs up on the way out. That helps us out. And
that's all I can think of. Thank you guys so much, and we will see you Patreons. Like I said, give us about like 5 or 10 minutes, and
10.
then probably about 10.
Give us 10
we
minutes.
have to charge.
Katie is a time opportunist, so don't listen to her when she says 5 minutes.
So about 10 minutes, and then I will put the link on the Patreon page, so you'll see that in about 10 minutes, maybe 15, depending on how life goes.
Absolutely.
So we'll see you soon, super besties and besties.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. We really enjoyed hanging out with you. Always a good time. Have a wonderful rest of your night, everyone. We'll see you later.
Bye-bye, everybody.